think it's
All right, minimize
so,
this.
I have this like new ring light on my computer, so it blocks like the first part of the top of my screen. Anyways, okay, thank you so much, Marisa, for volunteering to do our briefing this morning. I hope you're having a good Monday so far. Yeah, so everybody, this is Marisa Ferger from the Weather Communications Group here in the department, giving our briefing this morning. It's our last briefing before Thanksgiving break, and then we'll have 2 more after between Thanksgiving break and finals week. So we'll still be on Zoom as well. So hope you guys can make it out to that. But for now, I'll toss it over to Marisa and I will stop my share.
All right, thank you, Salix and Christopher. Sorry for my early morning technical delays. Not a shocker at all if you know me. For those who don't know me, my name is Marisa Ferger. I've worked in the department for 18 years, up on the 6th floor in Walker in a temporary cubby space right now that has really unflattering lighting, as I've noticed. But a blustery day, so I did step outside. I came into work, and if you haven't stepped outside yet, boy, is it gets you. And especially considering what we were dealing with a week ago with the record high temperatures. But hey, it's November. We're lucky we got as far as we did with the weather that we've had. Nobody wants a drought, but if you're going to have a drought during a pandemic, I think it's a great time just so people can actually get outside, especially all the students who are on campus and have a really tough time going anywhere other than their dorm room. But yeah, happy Monday. Got good news this morning. I don't know how many of you saw, another vaccine trial looks promising. So let's hope, because I don't know how much more I can take. Not sure. So I appreciate you guys asking me to do this today. I'm going to share this screen. Let me know if you see it. And if I have any problems, I know Christopher will jump in and tell me because he's good at that, but for a good reason. I'm not saying anything bad about Christopher. So this is the Ken Reeves Memorial Weather Briefing. And as John Neese mentioned a few weeks ago, Ken was a dear friend of the department, worked at AccuWeather, and he used to come to these briefings. He would take time out of his day to come to these briefings. And he died unexpectedly and tragically, I think in 2012. And his favorite color was purple. So I made sure to put purple in the background in honor of our friend Ken, who actually paid us a surprise visit just 2 days before he died. So I think it made it even more shocking to some of us when that happened. So the big story was the front that plowed through and brought the colder air in today. And here are some of the peak winds from yesterday that the Weather Service in Pittsburgh on the left, you can see what they tweeted out from Allegheny County. 63-mile-per-hour gust at 3 o'clock in the afternoon was their greatest one. State College office had showed a peak gust of 63 at the Blair County, or the Altoona Airport in Blair County. I think Bill told me today 50 on the roof of Walker, and at his house he had, I think he said 43. Sorry, Bill, I can't remember what you said. But some pretty impressive wind gusts, and the wind is still howling out there today, and we'll look at that in just a moment. Because of these winds, there were some power outage issues. This is the map from last night from poweroutage.us, the things you can find on the internet. That county was at Forest County is the red county. And unfortunately this morning, Forest County, I think, still having some problems. This is from about 8:45 this morning. But the map looking a little bit better this morning than it did last night. And there's that front well off to sea now. It moved through very quickly. It was interesting. You know, it went through here in the early evening and it was about 8:30 last night. It's the line of showers and went through New York City, and there was actually a tornado warning for Manhattan. And my best friend lives on the Upper West Side and texted me. It was very short-lived. I don't know if there was any damage in the city, but it was interesting to see Twitter light up over that one. The thing I want to point out, we'll talk a little bit more about in just a bit when we get into the forecast, is this secondary front, this reinforcing shot of colder air that will move through early tomorrow morning and could bring some lake effect to parts of Pennsylvania. Here is this little chart I threw together talking about sunrise and sunset, and today's November 16th. God, I hope so, if that's what I put on here. And comparing it to a month ago and a month from now. Now, obviously the sunrise and sunset, a little different in October because that was when we were still in daylight saving time. But today the sunrise was at 7 a.m. and the sun will set at 4:52. We have just under 10 hours of daylight. If you look ahead a month, it's just going to be 9 hours and 15 minutes. So our daylight is getting shorter. And look at how those temperatures change from mid-October to mid-November to mid-December. It just really slides very quickly from 61 in October to 50 today to the upper 30s in December. And then those lows also drop quite significantly, getting closer to having our low temperature be at the freezing mark. And that's inevitable. That's what happens in Pennsylvania. And it's hard for us to fathom just because it's been such a warm fall. It's been tough because we haven't had too many cold days. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second just so I can get these other maps up that I want to show you. And by the way, let's see, Bill 47 was his wind at home yesterday. So first we will have, now I will go back to my screen share. If anybody ever wants to say anything, please jump in. If you know me well enough that I don't like to be the center stage. So feel free to jump in and say anything you need to say. We'll go to the e-wall right now. And here's our surface map for the US. And you can see that front had moved through and we've got almost looks like west-southwesterly winds. And then there's going to be another system moving in late tonight, early tomorrow morning. A little closer look shows those brisk winds out of the west. And you can see in upstate New York near the Tug Hill Plateau, they actually have some lake effect happening right now off of Lake Ontario. And now we will just to get a looky at the upper level winds here. You can see there's a slight ridge in the western US and then this trough here in the eastern US. And that is the pattern that we are dealing with right now. I just left my little bunker and peeked out into the stairwell and saw that we actually have some blue sky peeking in. And you can see that here on the visible satellite picture. Nice gravity wave showing up here as well, all throughout the Northeast into New England. It's a pretty cool image. Something that John Banghoff at the National Weather Service here in State College, I'm sure would appreciate. But yeah, so blue sky today. So at least there is some hope to see some sunshine, a little bit of a glimmer of niceness happening out there. A few weeks ago, actually, speaking of John Banghoff, he showed some pretty cool tools that the National Weather Service has. And so I wanted to point those out as well, some of the tools I like to use when I'm forecasting. The Weather Prediction Center website is just awesome. I really appreciate the work that goes into this. This is the main page that you see, and it starts with this national forecast chart for today, and then you can scroll down to tomorrow, and then the next day. I like to, and then here's the surface. That's where I got the surface analysis. You can see from 24 hours ago how quickly that front just raced through, and the next front knocking on our doorstep there in the Great Lakes that will blow through tomorrow. I like to go to this fronts map here, and it gives you the time. So here's this morning, this afternoon, going through later today into early tomorrow morning. And there's that actually is the low right over Erie and bringing in, because it'll be cold enough, some mixed precipitation into Western Pennsylvania. And then behind it, that strong northwesterly flow. We'll talk about that in a little bit. By tomorrow night, you can see a typical lake effect map. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Pennsylvania topography, the reason there's this little tail of precip here in southwestern Pennsylvania is because that's where we have mountains, and that's a very lake effect prone area in the state. But by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, things start to slow down as the wind direction changes. And look at that, we go back to southwesterly flow by the end of the week. And then by the weekend, there'll be a boundary nearby, which may provide a slight chance of precip. The other thing I want to point out on this map, there's a couple of things. You can look at the QPF for the days ahead, which is a nice tool here. They also have their winter weather stuff. If we have any significant winter weather, we don't have any expected here in Pennsylvania. As far as significant, I think there will be some snow here, but as far as significant snow, There's also this nice tool in the upper right, the medium range hazards forecast, and you can zoom in. Ours has continued to show the drought. Ooh, there we go. The severe drought across central and northern Pennsylvania. And then this winter storm severity index will be fun as we go into the coming weeks and months. We're actually shaded. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? If we zoom in. For us here in State College, it's only limited impacts. But you can see once you get up into the Northwest Plateau there are some minor impacts expected. And so that takes you through the 3 days. And so that'll be a useful tool, I think, once we get more into the winter season and there's hopefully some more exciting weather, but I know some may disagree, especially this year, because nobody wants any more excitement in 2020. The other thing that John Banghoff pointed out, there's this really nice chart that they put out, the NDFD forecast records, and we're not expecting any of those this week. Last week, this was fun to look at, but you can see that as we go on into the week, the Southwest, and then moving into the plains as we get later into the week, may have a potential for some record highs and also some record high mins. So this is one of those things, if you're not sure about records in an area, sorry, my Zoom link is getting in the way here. That's always a fun one to play with. And then this is also a nice chart as well, where you can see what the forecast max and min temperatures are going to be and how they compare to average. So for example, here's this afternoon. And even though this doesn't give a detailed look of on Pennsylvania, you can see temperatures mainly in the 40s to squeaking in some low 50s across the Southeast. But if you look to the left, you can see how far below average that is. And I already showed you that right now the average high in State College is 50. We look like we're going to be in the mid 40s today, so about 5 degrees below average. But tonight, actually right around average. Tomorrow, as that front swings through, it'll be colder than average, a chilly day. Pretty cold tomorrow night, going into Wednesday morning. And then Wednesday, I think, will be the coldest day of the week behind that second front that's going to push through. But that cold air won't, and then Thursday morning, even colder. And then by the time we get to Thursday, we'll start to see a gradual warm up where we're closer to average on Thursday. And then by Friday, things start to get a little bit better. So that was just my little tour of the Weather Prediction Center website. It's a site I really enjoy going to. One thing I want to point out before we talk about lake effect, there we go. Water temperature plays a huge role in lake effect snow forming. The rule of thumb is you need a 13 degrees Celsius difference between the surface temperature, so what the water temperature is at the surface, and 850 millibars. So if we look at this water temperature map of the Great Lakes, we can look at Cleveland. Their recent water temperature, that changed since last time I looked, it's 49.6. And Buffalo is about 50.5. And if you convert that to Celsius, that's about 10 degrees Celsius. So you'll need your 850 millibar temperature to be at least -3 Celsius in order to get lake effect. That's not the only thing you need to forecast lake effect snow. The other thing you need is that the wind direction, you don't want any directional wind shear. You want the wind direction at the surface to be the same as it is aloft. And that's really important as well. So let's head back over to, I'm so good at being able to find my little ding dongs here. So the 12Z NAM is out, and we can do a quick gander at what is going to happen here in Pennsylvania. So as we go along, that front swings through tomorrow morning, and then you can tell here that there's a chance of some precipitation with that. But by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, that chance diminishes. And I'm going to quickly switch back over to tropical tidbits because no, I don't. Okay, I got to go back to my 6Z time. because if we go to Tropical Tidbits, the nice thing about this website is you can get some forecast soundings. And so let's go to tomorrow afternoon, and we can click here, and we're requesting our sounding. And we talked about the surface temperature is at about 10 degrees Celsius right now, and that we would need the 850 millibar temperature to be about -3. So if we go to 850, and of course my old eyes having a tough time here seeing, but I think that's about -9 Celsius if I'm correct. So I think, there you got your temperature difference. Here's the other thing, you can see your wind direction not changing with height, so that's favorable. This is not going to be a long-lived lake effect event. It's going to be pretty short, but I think that you could, especially in the Northwest Plateau, they could get a couple of inches. So what I like to call a plowable snow, but those folks up there are quite hardy and can handle that sort of thing. And again, as we click ahead here, this is the GFS model. High pressure starts to push in by the time we get into Wednesday. So we really, the chance of lake effect really does end very quickly. And then we get on this flow of being on the southwestern end of things, and that will usher in warmer air. Sometimes I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, those of you who have been forecasting longer or pay attention better than I do, I feel like sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the warmer air to get in than some people forecast. I think by the time Friday rolls around, we'll be above average or slightly above average. And then by the time we get to the weekend, especially with this front setting up, there's going to be a boundary setting up nearby Saturday and Sunday. I think that will really usher in the warmer conditions. And maybe a chance for some showers late Sunday into Monday will depend on how quickly that boundary moves into the region. So that's our story here. The big news of the day, of course, is iota down in Central America. And I almost don't even want to mention this because it just breaks my heart and I want to cry. I saw on Twitter right before coming on here that this had become a Category 5 storm, and winds 160 miles per hour, making landfall very, very close to where Eta made landfall just less than 2 weeks ago. So just a humanitarian crisis down there, and it's heartbreaking and sad and just awful. So pray for those people because that's just an awful situation. I don't know if I dug into everything as much as you guys wanted me to. If there's anything else you want me to talk about, but I will just pop up now my final screen here that I have for you. And so my forecast is that today, I guess we already have the peaks of sun. This is what you get when you're in a box without windows. The gusty winds will continue today, and those temperatures will remain a few degrees below average. That front moves through tomorrow morning, bringing some showers, and then mixed even here in central Pennsylvania early in the day, followed by lake effect. And I think we could see a few flakes here. Do I think we're going to have an accumulating snow here? Doubtful. But it might be fun to see some snowflakes. Wednesday will, despite the fact that that system will have moved out, Wednesday is going to be a brutally cold day, especially with the winds. But the lake effect will start to wind down. And then by the time we get to the end of the week, we'll dry out. Temperatures will finally start to go above average. And by the weekend, even milder and maybe some spotty showers to the west. And then after that, I'm not looking into Thanksgiving week because who the heck knows? I'm not that good at long range forecasting, but I wish you a quiet Thanksgiving with little or no contact with other humans because I'm not a fan of COVID. And there's our little turkey who's protecting itself from these humans here. So, all right. If I blew through too quickly, I apologize. It's one of those days. Any questions from anybody? Anything that anybody wants to see that I didn't show? I'm sure there was more that I wanted to show, and I'm just not feeling super organized today.
Yeah, feel free to use the chat like I've been doing earlier. There's also the Q&A function as well. It's okay if you didn't go as long as other speakers, Marissa. It's kind of up to your own discretion. So there's a game. I talk about not paying attention at all. And it's not because the team isn't doing well. It's just, I think my mind doesn't pay attention. There's a home game this weekend, correct? I know there's a game. I don't know if it's at home or if it's away.
Oh, okay.
Because we have one every week. I just don't know if it's.
Yes, against Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like a nice weekend of course it's going to be a nice weekend because every home game this year has been a nice weekend.
Yeah.
It is.
It's nice weather. 3:30. Okay. Any indication of another hurricane before the season ends? I saw yesterday, it looked like, and I didn't look today, there was a thought that there could be another one forming where right very close to where Iota is now. Is that still?
Yeah, Marissa, I checked it this morning. It was still a pretty low probability. I think it was just 30%, but it's right over top of where Iota is now.
Yeah, they don't have it listed on the, let me grab that for you, Dr. Young. They don't have it listed now. Last night, though, there was a hashed, I should have taken a screenshot of it last night, right where Iota is in this general vicinity, they had the hatched less than 40% chance within, oh, I'm not sharing, sorry, within 5 days, but I'm not seeing that on here today.
Marissa, click the 5-day link just below the map.
Oh, there it goes. There's our, I knew I saw it somewhere. So yeah, there you go. 30% chance in 5 days. Some gradual development could occur later this week while the system moves slowly westward. Let's hope not. That would be horrific. I have nothing to do with the tropics. I really, unless it affects us here in Pennsylvania. And I don't know about any of you guys, but I am so worn out from this hurricane season. It's been so depressing. I guess the whole thing with Iota, not only is it the first time we've used this name, it's the first Category 5 storm, I think, in the month of November. Is that what I read this morning? It's breaking all sorts of records, which is not something you want happening, especially this year. It just hasn't, I don't know about you guys. I'm worn out from a lot of things, you can tell. But this hurricane season just needs to end, and it's scary because it's only November 16th. And what in 2005, the previous season with the most storms, didn't it go to the end of December when we finally had our last name storm? So
the last storm of that season, if I remember correctly, actually lasted until like January 3rd.
Right, but it was named in December, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so the fact that it's only November 16th and we're this far is just mind-boggling and scary. So I hope, Dr. Young, I hope this is the last we see, but Lord only knows. We know that 2020 is throwing all sorts of curveballs at us. Yeah, but anything else from anybody? I feel like I went way too fast and breezed over a few things.
It's okay. Gives myself more time to do work and between now and my comm shift at 11. So perfectly fine.
Hopefully that helped you with your comm shift at 11.
It definitely does. I think I did this on accident in the fact that I put the weather briefing before my comm shift, but I'm so up to date on the forecast, and I have my forecasting shift later in the day anyways, so
Nice.
I'm just up to speed with the weather.
That's great. Well, I feel the same way because today I'm doing the forecast and the extended on Weather World, so I feel like I'm extra prepared. I might actually get graphics to Christopher on time today. Wouldn't that be a novel thing, Chris?
Okay, I can always work on the surface analyses.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, we can end the briefing. I'll stop the recording.
Well, and safe travels to all of you guys, those of you who have to drive home this weekend. It looks like